I see it as a pitched battle by mutual combatants, and that's basically my thoughts
the mutual
on it.
combatancy is facilitated by Portland PD. What you just described is right, but it was facilitated by Portland PD.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know for 100% sure, but that's what it looks like.
Here, hold on a second.
Like the police let it happen,
yes.
so that they could declare it a riot and get everyone off the street.
Yes. Right, and that's how they handle it.
We have documentation, thanks to you. Here, let's show this. I'm going to. Here's your documentation. By the way, go to YouTube channel, Mike BlueHair. Look him up. You'll see all of his footage. He's the foremost expert on this right here.
Right.
Boom. Boom. What is the...
Portland Police Bureau just used flashbang to disperse the crowd.
Now I'm going to stop, and I'm going to say that you now have documented proof, okay, and I'm going to refer to the Hegelian dialectic once again.
Here it is.
They created this problem that they came in and solved with brute force violence and, I would say, excessive force. They created this environment. They allowed Antifa to come in there with the Patriots as a volatile situation so that they could come in, bust it up, fire off their bullets, and declare everybody to disperse. That's my opinion. That's a mouthful, but...
Well, no, I agree with you to an extent, and here's the where I agree with you at. I think that it's not red state, blue state. Really, I think it's the state versus individual liberty and the state versus you. Here's the thing. The plutocratic elite globalist, for lack of a better term, some of my conspiracy theory friends would call them the Illuminati, whatever. These people want to take all the good land, all the good property, and all the good wealth from the people, period. And the way that they're going to get away with doing it is pitting the right against the left and having a civil war in this country.
Yes.
They want civil war in this country. They want the right to fight the left.
Yes.
Okay? I'm not going to take a bat to someone's head because I disagree with their immigration policies. I refuse to fight. I refuse to do violence. Right. I'm not saying I'm not good at it, but I'm not going to bring it.
Well, that's why we love you, Mike, because I know this about you.
He wants peace, yes.
I know this about you. I know from the way you conducted yourself when you came to Burns and spent a lot of time with us during the Malheur Refuge occupation. You conducted yourself
professional,
very, very well.
Compliant with orders against the state, You
really, really did.
Absolutely.
So, I know this about you. I know that you don't go to these. I know that you don't go to these things to promote violence. You're there to film everything that happens. That's why we're friends with you. That's why I'm very tolerant of your ideas. A lot of your ideas I agree with. Some of them, quite honestly, I don't. But you know what? I know you as an individual person. I know why you were there. And that's all I need to know about you. But I got to tell you, from the outside looking into this and watching it for a couple of years, I couldn't be on the ground because, for the last 2 years, because, Pete was otherwise deposed. But you know what? I've watched Antifa build, buddy. I've watched them build, and it's all based on violence. And I got to tell you, for the most part, even KKK and all those groups are pretty civil. They come here to Cincinnati and they march because they want their whatever on Fountain Square. It's pretty peaceful. It's done. It's over with. Nobody intervenes. But here in the last 2 years, wow, it has really amped up. And we got Antifa here going at these people, and Mike, it's not a good thing.
Mike, let me ask you this: Where is the ACLU to weigh in on this? Because if, in fact, we want to have, for instance, I don't want Antifa coming and interfering with anybody. I don't want the Patriots with a, hold on a second, let me put that on mute, sorry. I don't want the Patriots showing up with tractor trailers full of guerrillas, to go harm or even, be intimidating to anybody else. But I understand
you don't want to see the Patriots
I don't
want to see the Patriots get steamrolled. That's what I'm saying. I don't want them to have to, because they're countering domestic terrorists who are Antifa, who are online saying that they're going to come screw with the Patriots. I don't want them to have to be threatened like that, because guess what? they're not going to back down, dude. That is going to result in violence because the Patriots are not going to, they believe that they have God with them. They're going to proceed forward fearlessly. They're not going to bring offensive violence towards Antifa. But if Antifa comes at them, that group will defend itself, period. And that's not a good, those are not good ingredients.
Pete, you have your camp, and I love your brother as a human being, but I just have to disagree. I feel that both groups are accelerating in the violence that they're willing to do. And I saw people throwing baseball bats and bricks and batteries and all kinds of fun stuff. And I'm not just talking about Antifa, okay? I'm talking about the Proud Boys, okay? I saw a baseball bat.
Who started
the air
it? But who started it? Who started it? I have it documented, by the way, and so do you.
Sure.
Who started it? They were on they prayed, and then they went on their parade route. And then what were they met with?
Parade route that they purposely chose that was tactically making themselves vulnerable because they knew the response. And by the way, the first police response, honestly, Pete, was to dump about 500 or 600 pepper ball rounds into the Antifa side. Well, that was the first thing that they did. Now, if you think about tribalism and when people are, your team, red team versus blue team or whatever you want to call it, okay, the Patriot side are flag-wearing loyalists. They believe in, following the American empire for a better, for a soundbitey kind of term. Now, when they're waving their American flags and the cops are basically police in people's narrative in their subconscious, they're basically a, symbolic representation of the state or of government. So they perceive it as these flag-waving loyalists being protected by government. Like, it's partially true and then it's partially not true. It's like a mixed bag. It's a gray area where people make narratives in their mind and they're like creating reality in real time. But I'm just saying these two groups are polarized from each other and they're very willing to commit violence and it's accelerating. And you're absolutely right, Pete. There's a federal law called conspiracy against rights. I believe in my heart of hearts that both the Patriot side of this equation, the Proud Boy, the right-wing side, and the left are being honeypotted against each other. Yes. The feds are monitoring all your social networks. They're filming all your protests. They're taking pictures of your faces. They know every butcher, baker, and candlestick maker you make or know, and they're collecting data on both sides. And the moment someone dies at a protest during a fight, they're going to be able to give anybody who said, I'm going to go to this protest and disrupt this other opposing view, they're going to give them conspiracy against rights charges. You can get the death penalty for it. You can get 10 years in prison. You can get $100,000 fine. And they're just going to do it to everybody across the board because the state is this greedy, hungry monster, and it wants to put everybody in the prison.
I'm going to double down. I'm going to double down. And I'm going to say this, that I agree with you that there is a conspiracy. And the best way, okay, because guess what? Let's say if you're sympathetic to how the Antifa people believe that the Patriots are protected by the state and so on and so forth, right? You have two different factions, very volatile. Now I'm going to call upon the state to step up and say, you have an obligation as follows. I'll put it back on the screen again. You need to resort to or refer to Glasson versus City of Louisville. And I'm going to say that all the money you spend, that the first order of business is not to fire pepper ball into the crowd and disperse the rights of the Antifa and the Patriots and to cause them to leave because you failed to remove Antifa from a volatile situation. They have an obligation to avoid this conflict that we know is going to come. They have that obligation. I'm going to say that the ACLU at this point in time needs to intervene and sue the city for failing to protect the rights of the Patriot protesters. And I'm also going to give it to you that Antifa, doesn't even deserve to be pepperballed as well. Although I want them pummeled with freaking, gas.
Yeah, well, here's the problem. After taking the pummeling that the Patriot community has taken for the last 2 years from Antifa, I think we know these guys pretty well. And they're not going to sit back and let any more of their people be bloodied and pummeled.
We have just 5 minutes left.
They're just not going to. They're not going to allow that to happen. And you know what? The this is what's so sad about the situation is I know that there are good police officers out there that are just as frustrated as everybody else. They get stand down orders. They're told to stand down. They're not allowed to intermingle with the crowd. To me, it just looked so ill prepared. And, and I know that those orders are coming from the top. I know good cops. I know there's good policemen. You do too, Mike, that are in Portland.
Yes.
That hate to see this kind of thing happen. Their hands are tied in many, many ways, as are everybody else's. But we can expect that this will be another summer of violence, and it's going to be amped up this year because last year we took a beating. The more peaceful, conservative side of things, and they call it conservative for a reason, because we are conservative. We don't like this kind of stuff. We don't like it. We don't like it. But I got to tell you, this keeps happening, and these guys are going to stand up and protect their own as well, and I have to, boy, this might get me in trouble.